The airplane model in this room represents the world's first successful attempt to control and sustain flight in an aircraft, which was accomplished by the Wright brothers. Flying a controlled aircraft allowed for the expansion of travel and provided a new vehicle to use in the war.
Big stick diplomacy means to speak softly and carry a big stick, and President Theodore Roosevelt suggested this policy as America's foreign policy during his term.
In its commercial and financial expansion of American products in Latin America, Central America, and China created by President Taft, dollar diplomacy was created, and it created conflict and distrust between America and its countries because it was manipulation and used the military as a fear tactic.
In 1920, the trade, sale, and consumption of alcohol became illegal in order to cure America of its alcoholism and family violence. Many people considered the act a win for America, as it promoted good values, but prohibition only made things worse by dramatically increasing crime rates. This related to the theme of the 1920s by creating an effort to make a better and safer society.
In the 1920s, the new woman emerged. As youth started to abandon traditionalism, they set their own path for cultural norms. Specifically, women moved away from the idea that they were meant to have children, stay at home, and have a gentle personality. New women's were open to more swearing, drinking alcohol, and began wearing clothing that showed more skin, pushing the boundary of women's fashion.
The creation of the FBI in 1908 was originally 35 people and was originally a former Secret Service, and it dealt with prostitution and prohibition. However, it developed into a much more important organization and became a government program dealing with law enforcement and intelligence, and have been very, very helpful in providing the United States with intel about threats to the country.
Formed in 1909, the National Association for Advancement of Colored People, a civil rights organization, aimed to improve the lives of African Americans and work towards justice.
The 19th Amendment was passed in 1920 and gave women the right to vote in the United States. This amendment is very important because it gave women political power and the ability to influence the laws of the country that they lived in.
The Titanic happened in the early 1920s, and it was a horrible occurrence that is still considered one of the deadliest peacetime maritime disasters after it killed 1,500 people and foreshadowed the continuous change in the 1920s.
Henry Ford founded and incorporated in 1903 the Ford Motor Company. Harley-Davidson was also formed, and these two motor car companies shaped the path for modern-day automobiles.
One of the most significant earthquakes of all time, the earthquake in San Francisco in 1906, struck California with an extreme intensity. Not only did it destroy the region, it killed thousands in the process. America was therefore deeply hurt by this horrific yet uncontrollable event.
In 1907, Oklahoma became a state. In January 1912, New Mexico became a state, and in the following month, Arizona joined statehood as well. These new states provide Americans and regions with an identity and a sense of belonging to the United States.
In 1920, the Wall Street in New York City was bombed. The first terror attack, although people responsible were never caught, some historians believe that it was Italian anarchists.
In the early 1920s, radios first began to gain popularity. Radios allowed families to get information faster than they ever had been able to get before. Radios helped facilitate the massive innovation of the 1920s, and because information flowed faster, life began to speed up.
The Scopes trial was a trial between the state of Tennessee and a substitute teacher who was accused of teaching the theory of evolution in public schools. This trial drew a lot of attention to the debate between creationists and those who believed in evolution. This trial was also the first time in public schools teaching the theory of evolution.